Alright, good morning YouTube. In today's video, I just want to make a video talking about why you should include every single kind of training modality, meaning pieces of equipment, machines, barbells, dumbbells, calisthenics. In my opinion, there is no such thing as a complete physique without complete function. So if your goals are purely strength, you will be limited by the things you cannot do. Meaning, if you can't feel the muscle when you are on a machine to actually build up the muscle to help potentiate future strength, that is going to limit you. If you cannot move your own body through space, that is probably going to limit you as well. Now, obviously, we can have a discussion about these hyper elite lifters who they are super specialized into their sport, so they can bench close to 1,000 pounds, almost like upward 600 pounds, 6 to 700 pounds benchers. They don't need to worry about that. It's like squatters who can go from 7 to about 1,000 pounds, deadlifters who can do 7 to about 1,000 pounds. They have sacrificed every other kind of function in order to achieve that. Now, here's the thing, you are not them. The likelihood of you actually being them is also very rare, especially if you're natural. This is a natural lifting channel. So, to kind of take these examples and um, these extremes and use them as evidence for your reasoning as to why, oh, I don't need to do body weight because I'm trying to get as strong as I can on my deadlift. Well, congratulations, buddy. Uh, you've just given yourself a reason to be weak forever because you are now going to be limited by the strength of your back, the stability of your joints, and all of those things could be addressed if you could just do a fucking pull up. Like, are you kidding me? I'm even when I was 270 pounds, which is about the weight that I started this channel at, I could still rep out pull-ups. I'm currently 250 to 252, so and I'm repping out even more like now than I was then because I'm lighter. But here's the thing: even at that top end body weight, I could do chin-ups, and that allowed me to focus less on other lifts because the pull-ups help me maintain that strength. And then furthermore, when it comes to just training in general, if you don't include everything, there's this really weird mentality when it comes down to um, exercise selection and equipment. And part of it is because people want to optimize everything, people want to make everything better. Now, the thing is, when it comes to making a statement like, which is better for this, which is better for that, you have to understand that the statement has to be conditional for it to be applicable and useful for you. If you don't know what a conditional statement is or a conditional argument, it is basically saying, like, one of the premises has to include if this then that. So basically, like, this can make an argument invalid because it is so conditional, but at the same time it's what's actually going to be useful for you. So if you are a lifter who is completely new and can't feel your muscle during a bench press, chances are, because you're a new lifter, you probably don't know how to bench correctly, but also because you're a new lifter, you don't know how to feel your chest. So a barbell bench press probably is not going to be the best starting point for you. This is something that I personally had to learn and start doing with my clients. That's why I started transitioning more so to doing calisthenics, teaching them how to move, and then doing more machine work. So I did make a video talking about this yesterday, but I just want to hammer that point home because I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and the difference in training partly came from the fact that the influences. So who are you listening to? Who are you getting your information from? Are you getting your information from a wannabe powerlifter or an actual powerlifter who exclusively uses freeway movements, but they just don't agree with your body, and you still try to push yourself through them and then accumulate a disproportionate amount of wear and tear and move no closer to your goal? Is that what you're doing? Or are you looking at the training of a bodybuilder who has actually competed? But you have to remember something about pro bodybuilders. First of all, they're like more than likely on PEDs. The way that they train is somewhat different. Now there are, if for example, there's a lot of overlap between how a natural and a enhanced athlete could train. And the thing is, consistency and effort has to be present in both. Steroids don't replace effort, they attenuate it, so, or attenuate it, like make it better. I believe that's the definition of that word, but I'll figure out that later. Anyway, with PED usage, there's a couple things that need to be taken into consideration. First, their muscular endurance, their strength endurance, the actual level of strength that they can do is higher. So there's a couple things. The muscle gets bigger, the muscle gets stronger, but the connective tissues lag behind slightly because the performance enhancing drugs that they might use might benefit the muscles, but the connective tissues aren't growing at the same rate. So if they were to push themselves more intensely, they actually are more likely to injure themselves. And then of course, like let's say we look at the bodybuilders who have injured themselves, torn a pec on the bench press. Usually it's because they use such horrible range of motion, they don't really know how to use the barbell free weight movements, and their muscles are too damn big, too damn strong, and they don't have enough range of motion and stability in the joints that they fuck up and they injure themselves. I'm going to make a video in the future talking about how injuries just don't happen, like they don't just like come out of the blue, like usually they are built up over time. But that's something you need to take into consideration. The next thing is, what is their sport? Their sport is strictly just building muscle. If they have PEDs that allow them to train in ways that really wouldn't benefit you as a natural lifter, and they can get away with it because of the performance enhancing drugs, and it is a safer option for them, then it's better for them to just stick with mostly machines. Now, there are some bodybuilders who will use the free weight movements and they are very strong at them. So whenever people say like, oh, but this bodybuilder does this bodybuilder does that, this bodybuilder doesn't use free weights, I'm just like, all right, Chris Bumstead was repping out like I think 500 or 600 pounds on the deadlift. Like there's another bodybuilder who was lifting like who did 405 for like 20 something reps on the deadlift. And this fear, and another big thing that as to why people think that, oh, I don't need to do strength training because my main goal is hypertrophy. I bring this up a lot, but the thing is, it just really bothers me. And part of it is because one of the main things that they bring up is injury. I'm scared of being injured. And who wouldn't be? Injury is going to be the biggest time sink, and it's going to be the biggest thing that's going to prevent you from reaching your goals. However, we don't question why we get into a car and drive to the gym. We are more likely to get hurt, injured, and maybe even possibly killed by driving to the gym. Yet, we don't really question it because we feel safe, confident in the rules of the road, the machinery of the car, and competent in your own ability to actually drive the car. So let's look at those things. Like, if you trust the people around you who are knowledgeable with the movement, let them coach you. If you are comfortable with driving because you are competent at it, become competent with these free weight movements and you will no longer fear them, and you're going to realize that you're actually making better results. Reason being is because now you're not just pigeonholing yourself into one piece of equipment. You need to, like, in my opinion, it's not, you need to use barbells and then everything else can just fall by the wayside. You need to use dumbbells and everything else will fall by the wayside. You need to use this because it's better for that. You need to use this because it's better. You need to use that because it's better for this. You don't need to think like that. You need to think of it in a more holistic fashion. For barbells, you're able to overload them more than any other modality, more than dumbbells, more than machines, and more than your body weight. So when it comes to strength progression, it's probably a good idea to use barbell movements. Now with dumbbell movements, they can be overloaded more and you have more control than a machine. But they also allow you to get more range of motion and a more natural movement pattern to help stimulate the muscle. So it's a great tool for building muscle. Some would even argue even better than the barbell. However, that's because of the range of motion benefits and the control of the weight. But with the barbell, you're getting more tension, and we know that like just pure tension, pure weight on the bar is going to elicit a hypertrophy response. So use both. There's no need to only use one. And then with machines, let's say you've burned yourself out with, let's say the bench press, your triceps are fucking sore, but you can still get a bit more chest volume in. Well, congratulations, there's a way to isolate that muscle and you can use a damn machine. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially if your goals are bodybuilding. One thing that I kind of get misconstrued when I talk to my friends is the fact that they'll say like I'm against using machines because I barely use them in my own training. And usually my response is this: I don't need to use them in my own training because they're not in line with my main goal, at least not for every single movement. There are some machine exercises that I do, but it's usually just at the tail end and it makes up maybe 10% of my workout. But I'm not against machines. I'm against machines taking the place of everything else, in the same way that I'm against the practice of letting barbells take the place of everything else, the way of taking dumbbells taking the place of everything else. And also, if a fucking push-up, a pull-up, and a dip. And like body weight squats, you need to work on that, especially if you're a natural lifter. If you are going to sacrifice your life for the pursuit of strength in the squat, bench, and deadlift, forget this advice. But remember why you go to the gym. Are you going there to be the next world record lifting power lifter, or are you going there to be strong and be healthy and God forbid even look sexy or look good? So if you want to like just do those 3 basic things, use barbells, use dumbbells, use machines, and control your goddamn body weight. So I don't want to see any more people who rely solely on the weights but can't move themselves. Like, I'm a big guy, there's no excuse for it, and there's no excuse for not including everything in your training. If you choose to neglect everything else in your training, you are not serious about your own goals, and that is going to be the end of this video. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Carlos the King. If you are interested in coaching, or if you want to get this shirt that I'm wearing, this black on black Stand Strength shirt with the Stand Strength logo on the chest, that is also in the link in the description below. So yeah, reach out for coaching, or if you just want to support the channel and help me continue to make these videos, then go ahead, buy some merch. And if you want me to make your own workout program or work with me as your coach, just head to the link in the description. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.